Hello, I'm here with Jon Estell, who's Head of Spectral, part of the RIDI Group here in the UK. Jon, just for starters, before we get into responsible light, just explain to us what it is that Spectral does within the RIDI Group.
So Spectral is, it offers unique architectural solutions within our group for the commercial world.
Right, okay. Well, I think that's very appropriate to the subject in hand, because we're going to be looking at design standards. And the thing that we know about design, well, any kind of standard really, is that we will always try and kick against it, make it better, question it, interrogate it, knock it into a million pieces and then put it back together again. And the spectral offering is, I guess, is a golden opportunity to be able to do that.
Yes, it is. It is. I've been doing this for 28 years, and the opportunity to talk about light is still as relevant now, even more relevant now than it ever has been. And I think design standards are something that some people feel quite intimidated by, which is a shame, because we are all in this together. It's holistic, and I'm a big believer in us educating the world in what lighting design standards are.
Right. Okay. Now, here am I as a designer and as a specifier, and I see design standards I think from one viewpoint. You're there as representing the manufacturing community, looking at design standards from possibly a different viewpoint. But the synergy is that we are both, as you say, we're working together on this one. And design standards, we've got product standards, we've got project standards. We've got standards that are not really lighting standards at all, because what they're looking at is things like, thing that we will talk again about eventually, about well-being. And this is not an issue of me or you just looking at what we're being given. This is us responding to those standards. So how does RIDI and Spectral respond to the given standards in the knowledge that the marketplace and the technical landscape has moved so swiftly and so quickly over the years? How does the manufacturer actually deal with that?
Well, our stance as a responsible lighter is to look at the building as an individual. So it concerns me that the regulations often are looked at in a one-size-fits-all sort of scenario. So I would say to my customers immediately, this building is being designed in a specific way, in a unique way, and the lighting needs to serve that purpose well. And also, I think we, as a responsible manufacturer, need to go beyond the regulations, push the boundaries and go beyond. So the regulations are there to aid and abate our designs, and they are subject to health and safety requirements and that type of scenario. The latest versions, for example, of EN 12464 are allowing us to now consider people much more than we ever did before. You and I would have said that over our careers, that's always been our focus, but generally across the board, we need to educate people that, you know, people operate in buildings and we need to consider people. So the latest regulations, for example, bow to that. And I think we need to look at, in terms of building, as part of the building design process, what the individual is doing at any given time, at any given point, what task they're achieving, and what light is comfortable for them, what's right for them. Do they need to adjust it? And we work off the guidelines as a platform to start that process.
So if we look at standards as being something that is given to us, that assumes that we've already got answers to those standards. How does it work when things like 12464 come in, which actually suggests that we don't necessarily have all the answers already in the range? How quickly are you able to respond as a manufacturer where you go, we've now got a new standard. We are now required to look at this thing differently. the old standard, which we were doing very comfortably with, thank you very much, now need to change, and we need a response today. How does that conversation work?
Well, there are known metrics which we can feed off, and in the current design for people working in spaces, there's a lot of very lush information and research which isn't embedded within the lighting industry. It's outside of the lighting industry that we can use, lots of, and we must use that intelligently. There's a lot of neuroscience, for example, information out there that has been many decades in being researched. We can use that. But there are metrics that we don't know. What we need to do is we need to acknowledge that don't know, and circumnavigate that, and be open about how we approach that individual design for that building.
Okay. I'm thinking of a few weeks back, we had the Roland conference, which is responsible outdoor lighting at night. Give it a name, and there it was. Mark Major was talking there from Spears and Major, and he's just taken a very simple line: everything must change. Okay, thank you, Mark. But he also said that in order to do that, we need to be better than best. And what he was getting at was best usually means best practice. Best practice usually means interpretation of given standards. And he's looking for a lighter, maybe he's looking for a revolution rather than an evolution. I'm not quite sure. But he's looking for a way where we respond altogether more quickly. And I wonder to what extent you feel like that the manufacturer can play that game, because it is a bit of a game.
Well, I think we need to, first of all, as a manufacturer, you need to say, what is best practice? Ask that question first. And that'll inform, if you like, the brief for how you approach a project. And what is best practice comes in many different guises. The actual light volume in the space is, one aspect. Also, the most appropriate product to that is another best practice. And we need to set out the boundaries in that. And we need to educate the team around us as to what that actually means and the implications of that. I will always stand by the fact that if lighting has been integrated early and adopted early in the design process, that building will be a better environment, without question. There are many examples of it. It's always extremely dangerous to design a building, build a building, and then go, right, we need light in it.
We've been there.
Yeah.
How does it work across the company then? I mean, you're at the very sharp, pointy end of these discussions. One of the issues around responsible light is that it's a company-wide policy that everyone within the company understands and appreciates and supports that. When we're looking at standards and when we're looking at the dynamics of what those standards mean, do you feel that the people behind you at Spectral, in broader terms, the people behind at RIDI, are responsive to that? Or do we get that, I sometimes feel, inevitable inertia within a company where, oh, not again. We've just done something, you want us to change it again? Is this an exciting company to be with for these discussions?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate because RIDI actually stands for Richard Dietz. And from the outset, 70 years ago, Richard started the company with responsibility to delivering better light. That's how he started the company. And it's remained with his son who took over. And it's deeply embedded within sort of DNA of the organisation. So I'm very fortunate in that, and we're not led by marketeers, we're not led by stakeholders, and the mere fact of where the company was established in the beautiful area of the Black Forest in the Swabian area of Germany, there's a sort of inherent body of care, if you like. And that's unique and really you know, a wonderful thing to experience. But to answer your question, yes, it seems like a cheap trick to just say yes to that, but it is across the board. When we develop a product, for example, which I'm also involved with, when we start from that outset, we're not thinking as a manufacturer of what do we need in our range. We start with a research program and a need. And that need is then often informed by bodies that are outside of the organisation. They're not within the organisation. It's very easy to become very cloaked in your own environment as a manufacturer. But you need to look beyond that and look outside of that. So we will use consultants to inform decisions. And then we form a brief, and then that brief has this DNA running through it all the way through the whole process, and takes quite a while. It's not a fast fix. You know, you can be looking at 2 to 3 years sometimes, you know, in the cycle of the development of from seed to finished product, which is then sent out into the market. It's responsible light is definitely about that. No question about it.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we'll stop at that one because that sums it all up. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed that, and look forward to seeing you on the next one.